it still just makes me, like, sad that I could be out there, but, you know, like, learning about this shit, practicing it, and teaching other people, making people's lives better, and instead I'm just stuck in this job, doing this thing that I don't even think matters at all.
That's bad cool. You can hear this joint.
Yeah, like, thanks, sir.
It's like fucking weed ASMR.
Well, you will see. I'm just a business. I forgot my line. That accent is horrible.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
So, that might be a thing that happens to us while we're playing is the battery dies.
Oh, I forgot we were gonna play the fucking...
Alright, see that little screen is recording it. It's like in between, you know?
Oh, so you used the footage of us playing it, and then you just put the sound on top of it, like us speaking, right?
That's what I'm gonna do. So ought to be kind of fun. How are your headphones? Do you want them louder, quieter?
No, it's good.
It's good? Cool, cool.
I can hear myself breathing. I can hear you breathing too. Moon.
I wonder, I should turn up. That might be too loud, but we'll see.
Are we gonna hear anything that's happening in the game?
Not in our headphones, that's gonna be in real life, but it'll be recorded.
It's like our headphones are not in real life.
Yeah. How you doing, Davis?
Pretty good.
You good to go?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
Arrest this bitch.
You know, I guess in our podcast, it'll be like maybe a different Jamie every day. Sometimes it's
Different
Davis,
Jamie.
sometimes it's Andrew Kachina. Maybe you could be Jamie.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's just the man in the
Theo,
chair.
pull that
Whoever.
up. Yeah, the man in the
Whoever
chair.
is there.
So, I guess we'll get to the meat and potatoes, huh?
Huh? I'm just fucking stoned right.
You went to a cool convention thing
Yeah.
for Mr. Wim Hof, the Iceman.
Yeah, all the way across United States. Freaking six hour flight. Yeah.
6 hours?
Yeah, you know, it makes, like, when I'm on a plane, I'm always thinking about the Louis C.K. line where he said, I don't understand how when people are flying, they're not like, oh my god, we're in an iron chair in the fucking air, you know, in the fucking sky. You know, like, why are people not excited?
Yeah, what does he say? You'll never believe it. We sat for 40 minutes. He's like, and then what? Did you fly in the sky at hundreds of miles per hour?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
Miraculously?
I feel. That's what I feel.
Yeah, no, I mean, fuck, that's noisy. I am kind of afraid of flying.
Yeah.
And so, it's especially crazy to me.
I mean, did you ever fly? Did you ever flew in a plane?
When I was young, I must have been like 10 or maybe a little younger. I did go on an airplane to Florida with my dad.
So just like 2 times maybe?
Yeah,
Back?
it was actually, I think, 2 flights there.
Oh yeah, because you
And
have to
then-
switch the plane sometimes.
Yeah, it might have been the same way back.
And were
I
you already
honestly
scared?
hardly remember it, to be honest.
Were you already
Kinda
scared
crazy.
of flying when you were there, or did you get scared after that? Like, did you just decide and like, nah?
Yeah, I honestly learned more about it, and I got mad afraid. Dude, this game is so fun.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so damn ridiculously reckless in this
Oh yeah, I
game.
mean that's the point, right? To me, at least.
I think I might get in that car.
You just jump out of a car and.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game. This is like honestly one of my all-time favorite games. And like, I'm playing this on the old system, I guess. This is Grand Theft Auto 5 on an Xbox 360,
Yeah.
and I'm just playing the story mode. I honestly don't even know
So do you actually like
where.
do things to accomplish missions, or? Just...
Oh, dude, I've beaten this game like 3-4 times, and I've done all the different storylines. I even did this shit where they have these alien spaceship parts. It's like a side mission. There's 50 of them scattered throughout the whole fucking map. This is a big map. Like, you're going all up in these, going underground into the fucking tunnels for trains, going up into fucking boonies and the fucking wild shit.
Yeah, I would never play missions. I would just murder people in the
Oh,
street
yeah.
and run away from the police.
Dude, sometimes I literally stage like these massive explosions of cars in this game. It's absolutely absurd.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah. You make like the traffic you create a
Whoa.
traffic jam.
That was crazy.
Then you just stick a bunch of bombs to all these cars in a line and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You already fucking know. Dude,
yeah.
and it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
you know,
that? There's one of these little side missions.
To kind of bring out back what you guys were talking about when I came here. You know, we're doing this thing that you guys are talking about in this game. So, I mean, it is totally different, but in essence, you know, we are still, even if it's just a digital game, but
Right.
it's not too far from, like, actually doing it. So,
The point is that there's a part in every person that
Yeah.
would enjoy some fucked up shit.
oh yeah. I think Jordan Peterson talks a lot about like, your...
Man, I have a
You
hard
ever
time with that dude because
You do?
I don't know. I've just heard so many people say he's kind of a. Oh, it killed me too.
What did they say?
Well, particularly Kyle Kalinske doesn't think Jordan Peterson is the smartest guy in the world.
Oh, I never
For
said
some
he was the
interesting
smartest guy in the world.
Yeah, but I'm
But-
saying that in the sense of like he thinks he's kind of dumb.
Oh, well, I don't know what he thinks.
And he's a guy that I think is smart, but at the same time,
I don't
I've
know
heard
what
Jordan Peterson say something. Because, like, a lot of people say broken clock is right twice a day. You know, anybody can have a point that's right.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I've listened to things that he says, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking smart. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that-
I think Kyle Kalinske has actually talked about that. He's like, yeah, I think you know, his self-help stuff, you know,
Right.
things that he has a lot of things that he wouldn't disagree with. It's like when he weighs in on like I guess like gender issues and race issues,
Oh,
like
come
stuff like
on,
that.
gender
He's kind of like
issues, really?
Theo, what's wrong with
actually,
gender
I don't know. I
issues?
don't know if that's like the
No,
best
it's
way to
just-
put it, because like it's not like Kyle Kalinske is like a person that is like pro like the 57 fucking genders and gender fluidity and all that stuff, but
It's just what I know about the gender issues and Jordan Peterson. That's how he became like so famous, because
Yeah.
he said that he's not gonna call a gender person anything, not because he doesn't like gender, it's because it became a law in Canada or something.
So what
And
I've
he-
heard is he mischaracterized the law. Like, explained it as, like, it wasn't really, like, a crazy thing. And what I looked at, I guess the law just added transgender people to, like, protected classes, like gay people or handicapped people. Basically saying, like, you know, you're not supposed to discriminate against these people.
Yeah, well, he never did though. He
Right.
only said that he's not gonna follow the law. He actually never mistreated a student in his class. You know.
So what was the law, though?
I don't know, something
You know,
about
that's- I think he made it sound like it was like this fucking. Don't run me over, sir.
basically he said he disagreed with the law because it was like
Whoa.
violating the
Free
freedom of-
speech or
yeah,
something.
freedom of
Right.
speech. So
So I don't know though. Like I don't know if it really did. And that's
Well-
why I'm just like, what is up with that?
well, the
shit?
thing is, when he said I'm not gonna call gender like a
Shit, I'm
transgender
just gonna
anything
die.
because the law tells me, people can kind of ignore the law part and they're like, oh my god, you hate transgender people, you're like fucking homophobe and all these things together, you know. And he was like, I never mistreated any person. Actually, there's like lots of people who are transgender who use like his his classes for like helping themselves. There's lots of people who are actually thanking him, you know, like he said out of all the hate letters that he receives, there's like one transgender and like.
Have you heard about how he's in rehab right now?
Oh yeah, I heard about him.
He got like
taking
prescribed
pills, like anxiety pills or something.
because his
I
wife
think
was
it's his
getting
wife,
these
yeah.
crazy fucking diseases and.
Yeah, she has like cancer or some shit.
But to be honest, that kind of makes me say like, all right, you give people this advice about addiction and shit, and you know.
Well, for the most
But
part.
hey,
it's the
maybe
first
he's
time
getting over
happened.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, maybe he's taking his own advice as we speak. Hey,
mean-
I have
I mean-
a fucking friend.
Yeah, if you're in rehab,
In the car.
you're probably if you're in rehab, you definitely know you have a problem. So.
Yeah, and I guess what they're saying is like, big thing is like, he had a different impression of what the drug was that he was being prescribed. Thought it was kind of like a different drug that, oh, don't get out. Aw.
Yeah.
I guess she doesn't like
Yeah, I heard it on Joe Rogan's podcast about Jordan Peterson going to rehab. So I was like, what?
Yeah, I saw there was some clip of his wife talking about it. Or his daughter.
Yeah, I think
It was both of them. I want to find like a cool jump to go off or something. Man, my mouth so dry.
Right, I just drank this entire cup of coffee. Oh my god, that was nothing. Teas was nothing.
But yeah, back to Wim Hof.
Yeah, back to Wim Hof. I was like, we're not gonna go towards fucking discussion about politics and freedom of speech.
Who knows? Maybe
So
we'll
many
get to
people
it.
have already talked about that. It's like,
Yeah, like I don't even really like talking about these things because I don't want to talk about it.
if you don't know how you feel by now, just get a clue.
But yeah, your fucking experience over in California, right?
Yeah,
That
it was in San Jose. Yeah.
pretty fucking cool. You stayed at a place owned by the people who own that light company, which was
Oh,
that what it was called?
Yeah, that's it.
The
so,
camera called Light or
yeah,
Light.
the company is called Light.
Right.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to speak because when I entered the place, I had to like sign some papers that I'm not gonna
What about their camera and shit?
Yeah,
right. That
about
makes sense.
because I saw their office, and so I didn't really do too much in there. He just showed me like the camera. He didn't actually like lead me anywhere, show me anything crazy. But yeah, that was the guy that whose house I stayed. It was this Russian dude.
That
His-
shit's so
and his
cool.
wife.
I've seen like people make unboxing videos and shit. The $2,000 12 lens camera or whatever.
Yeah, I've never seen or heard about this camera. So his wife
It's
was
funny
like,
because you told me about it and I had heard of it before. I was like, that is fucking cool as shit.
yeah, she was like 16 lenses camera, and I was like 16 lenses, like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and the fact that they're working on something for like the fucking future cars to drive out themselves, like so.
Yeah, that's wild.
He's like a software engineer or something.
And that was, what, was it the Airbnb or something?
No, so this dude is actually a friend of my friend who lives here in Boston.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And he was here when I was doing the Wim Hof contest, the Instagram thing where I was trying to win the free tickets. So I said,
Really?
yeah, so this Russian friend of mine, Alex, who lives in Boston now, he moved from Canada. He was like, oh yeah, well if you win, where's it gonna be? And I was like, it's gonna be in San Jose, California. He's like, oh, I have a friend in there, and I can text him and see if you can stay at his house for free. You don't have to rent like a hotel
That
room or
is so
something.
cool.
Yeah, man, it saved me a lot of money too.
That's
because-
fucking sick, dude.
So they were staying in Dublin.
And then how was the fucking actual thing?
The conference.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll start from the beginning. There was, I think there was about 500 people in the room, so it was a pretty big audience. And that's one of the things I loved about the whole experience, because I've done the breathing and the cold shower and things like this, but I've never done breathing with 500 people doing it simultaneously.
That sounds like you're inhaling a lot of other people's breath.
Yeah, I don't know. That didn't make me feel.
Didn't
like that.
occur to you, or?
No, because I don't give a shit. That's like a group thing.
It's weird that for some reason that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we focus on the inhale, so the exhale just soft. You just drop it, so there's not too much about these people exhale.
That's funny though.
They made us sign the papers like before we even got to the event. Like when you purchase a ticket, they send you an email with a agreement on like you sign. That if something happens to you, you're not gonna sue them because there might.
Whoa.
Some people shouldn't be doing it. For example, like pregnant people, or people have like
Right.
epilepsy, and something might happen that you just pass out, or whatever that might happen. Like out of ordinary, you're not gonna sue these people.
Because you get all lightheaded potentially.
Yeah. So there was actually a person after we went on break.
Well,
the first
actually,
time-
definitely you're gonna get lightheaded.
Yeah, definitely. But there was one person I didn't see them carrying the person out, but I saw like the ambulance and the security like.
Oh,
with the
jeez.
stroller. I was like, damn, somebody I guess didn't.
Someone actually couldn't.
Somebody didn't do well, yeah. So I guess it's not totally pointless to make people sign those papers.
Oh, definitely. That makes sense.
So.
Did it feel cool while you were doing the fucking breathing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I need
that
to
must
imagine.
have been, like you said, kind of interesting.
Because you do have this feeling when you do the breathing, especially after even after the first round, after like 30-40 breaths, you exhale, and you have this very like meditative state where your body's so relaxed, and you kind of go deeper in the deeper parts of your brain, so you're not like regular everyday, thinking like we are right now talking.
Right.
And then I've
You're
done it
getting in a
before.
different headspace.
But it's an incredible feeling, and there's 500 people who are all doing it, and they experience it. So you just kind of, when you go in this meditative state, you can feel the other people's energy. Like just like if you think about consciousness as like thing that's just everywhere. So imagine this big energy of everyone in one room, and then you're in this state of just feeling it much more.
That's dope.
Yeah. And then the funny thing,
Did you do any like cold exposure shit as a group?
So
really?
we're gonna get to it. So the first part, the first like hour, it was just Wim. He came out on stage and he just, like introduction,
Yeah, talk a little about what he actually is.
So
anybody who's listening to this saying,
Yeah.
I don't fucking care about.
Yeah, I don't
this
know
guy.
who Wim Hof.
Fuck
Why should
you.
I care? Well, he's a Dutch extreme athlete.
He's Dutch.
Yeah, he's Dutch. That just gives him something funny about him because the way he talks and it gives him a little accent is.
You can't have these.
So, usually what I tell people who doesn't know about him is that he's an extreme athlete and he trains in extreme cold. He's using his method of breathing, so basically just inhaling a shit ton of oxygen and then retaining on the exhale, so you get the balance of oxygen and whatever happens when you don't breathe. Because when you exhale and you don't breathe, your cells start absorbing the oxygen more. So you can see what's happening there. You get so much oxygen in your body and then you retain, so your body actually absorbs all this oxygen. So you get super charged up. And there's actually a lot of science behind this thing. And I'm not too familiar with all the science, to actually like explain it so people can understand it. But there is a lot of positive effects from.
Well, the coolest one I heard was the experiment.
Oh yeah, when they
what was
injected
it?
him with bacteria or something.
Yeah, it was
E. coli
like
bacteria or
a
something.
bunch of kids.
Yeah, he trained 12 people because when he proved to the scientific community that he can do this and he can withstand the illness by just like thought alone, because he couldn't. They told him, you're not gonna do the breathing. I'm not sure if it was that exact experience, but one of them that he didn't even do breathing. They were like, let's see what you can do with just the power of your mind. And he showed them that he could influence his nervous system by just thinking without even breathing, like concentration.
That's incredible.
So they were like, okay, maybe he's just like one of these people who's like, like a nature freak. So they were like, okay, if you can train people and show us that other people can do the same thing, then we're gonna look into it even more, And now there's people, even in American universities, people look into studying this method. So his mission actually, besides like going around and being a fun guy and training people to do this thing, his mission is to change the modern
The person.
medicine. Yeah, medicine, because he talks about all the pharmaceutical companies,
Right.
and
No, that makes a lot
yeah,
of sense.
he's very negative towards those people, and he's like, this fucker is. His favorite curse word is motherfucker. He has a logo like a breathe motherfucker.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah, and so he always like says things like this motherfucker. Inflammation. This little fucker. He says this fucking man. Like you just see him going on stage, and I don't know. There's something about this person. Like you can feel his energy like radiating in the room. So. Yeah, I don't know if that's probably enough introduction for who this guy is.
Well, and he swims under fucking ice lakes. He fucking.
He holds 26 world records. 26, and he's like, I can beat a world record right now. He told us like that. There's some people that were like he was hanging out with, and he was like, I can actually beat. Some guy challenged him. He was like, so Wim, if you're so healthy and doing all this breathing, and he likes to drink beer, So there's this one smart ass guy. He was like, oh yeah, but drinking beer is like, it's not good for you. He was like, well, how about I drink a beer and you challenge me to beat a world record? How about that? And he did, and he actually stood in the snow in this horse stance position, so kind of like legs wide spread, kind of like half sitting down for 3 hours. Just standing. He was like, try to stand in this position for 2 minutes, and my legs are gonna start like getting tired. And then you're doing it in super cold weather, and your legs just like standing on top of snow.
Nuts.
Yeah. He
Maybe
like
I'll find a motorcycle.
he stayed in the ice bath for 2 hours without his core body temperature changing. And he was able in the lab to show the people who are observing him, he can increase the temperature of his palm just separately. He would
That's
focus.
wild.
Yeah, he would focus on
Holy
his
shit.
palm, and the skin temperature was
Dude,
like,
that's like how monks can channel their fucking chi.
yeah, that's he was talking about it too. So it's just
Because
kind of,
they've done that. They've tracked the monks moving heat through their body
Yeah.
on a thermal camera as they're doing their thing that, you know, they
Yeah,
call
whatever,
is
focus.
directing their chi
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. So
That shit's so fucking cool.
he in his method. So you see, actually, there's a logo on my arm, like right here. You see the three things right here.
Yeah.
So it's this three little slots stand for, you know, breathing, cold exposure, and commitment.
Commitment is probably the
Yeah.
hardest one because anyone can do it like once or twice, like
yeah.
me.
Yeah. It's, so you're like, oh
Like
man,
I did it
feels
for like a
good.
month for the cold showers,
Yeah. So you did actually. I mean, I remember. Yeah.
but that was about it, you know.
Yeah. I've been doing it for 2 years now. That's why I was like so excited to go there to see this guy, because he's like one of my heroes that you know, of today, and he's alive, that I can see him. So where were we? Yeah, the cold exposure. Okay, so he talked a whole bunch about how it wasn't just him talking, because, you know, he can. There's like, this event was like 8 hours, so there was some of like his friends. No, not right now. Some of his team. There's like the scientists.
You can pick up a call if you need to.
Nah, that's fine. I'm gonna get distracted. Oh man, you just got. Like, what the fuck? And he gets up like he's fine.
He's like, oh fuck.
Just beat the shit out of this lady. You little bitch.
Yeah, okay, I gotta go this way.
So yeah, that was the introduction of Wim Hof. Then one of his team members, he was talking about the science of it. Then we did the breathing. And then we had a break, so we went to get some food. And then we came back. There was a little more about science of the breathing and all the experiments that he did. And then there was a bunch of different groups of people. So there was a VIP section. There was a golden ticket people, you know, silver.
Oh,
so,
shit.
So we were already like separated in groups, and I was lucky to win the golden ticket. So I was like two
Wow,
rows
that's
from.
very interesting.
Yeah, 2 rows from the stage, so I could actually see him very close. I didn't have to look on those screens.
Did you get any good pictures?
I got some pictures. Yeah, I got some videos too.
You should send them to me. I'll put them in the fucking video podcast part.
Yeah. The one sad thing is that I didn't get a picture with him like after the event. I thought I'll have a chance to like.
Ah.
Actually, I did have a chance, and Diana was all pissed because I was in the front rows. And when the event was over, a bunch of people started running there, but I was there already, you know. But there was like 5 people taking pictures with him, like, Wim, picture. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to push people and just get in there and be like, okay, I need a picture with you, dude. Come here. So I kind of just stood there on the side, and then he was like, okay, enough. After like 10 people, like, because everyone would just keep coming and asking for a picture.
Damn.
So he kind of had to like, bye, okay, I gotta go.
Ever heard of Jackson Skinner? He's head of product development at Facade.
Oh shit.
Man,
I'm
we
gonna
must
do a
read
mission.
different magazines.
Oh, yo,
And the bastard made a fortune selling
fucking
customer
jacked.
data to the highest bidder from Moscow to Tehran. He's handing it to the cyber terrorists on a fucking silver platter.
Okay, dog, chill. Shit, chill. I got you, man. What's the play?
I'm reliably informed that he has a weakness
Yeah.
for working
He looks
girls.
pretty sketchy
There's a
standing
regular
looking
he likes
around.
to pick up in La Puerta.
So
You stake
I
her
was in the
out,
second
and
group of people who are gonna go take the ice bath. So they had like a bunch of pools outside. So actually, people from the streets, people like there was the road nearby, so people in the cars can see like a shit ton of people just jumping in these pools. And it was only 2 minutes in the ice bath.
Wow,
but-
that's wild. So you guys all got in a big pool of ice?
So there was about 7 pools, so 15 people each pool. So those
Whoa.
are pretty big, yeah. And
What kind of a building was this?
it was called Center for Performing Arts. So it's kind of like a theater building. You know, there's this big stage, and there's a shit ton of just sitting people, like sitting rows. And outside they have like some private property, but you can see it. You can see everything. So they had us just stand around the pool, and then he would just count, and we would do the horse stance. So again, like you kind of sit slowly, like half sitting down, then this movement.
He must have
pause.
like a curriculum down by this point.
What do you mean?
Like kind of these things that he knows to have people do when he's training them.
Oh yeah.
And like, oh yeah, you just have to do this and like you'll be doing the thing.
Damn, that must be my
You know what helps is the amount of people in the same pool. So everybody, like nobody wants to be that guy who's like freaking out, you know, too much. So what everyone did, and I was actually surprised, because if I'm home alone and I'm gonna take an ice bath, I'll probably spend a bunch of time like trying to get in there and be like, oh shit. But I've never done an ice bath, so I was like, I'm gonna go to Wim Hof method experience, and I'm gonna lose my fucking ice bath virginity there, you know. And you know, 2 years of cold showers did not prepare me for what was coming, because, you know, cold shower, you like the whatever, however cold water is, you have warm air in the bathroom, you know, like it's not you don't submerged in the water, or like that doesn't leave you, so your body temperature kind of have like some time to like warm yourself up, you know. When you're in the ice bath, you're just covered with water,
Instantly,
with ice.
yeah, the whole body.
Yeah, and so they were saying before we even got in there, you know, they were like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna freak out at first, but that's the whole point of taking the ice bath, is to learn to control this, you know, this super stress relief, you know, like when you're freaking out, like survival mode. They're like, it's fine, you're gonna be fine, just trust yourself, try to slow down your breathing, and try to not to focus on how soon is it gonna be over. Because so I got in there and I sat down and I started losing my shit, like, cause I
really?
I started like my body started like taking the shallow breaths, and they say breathe slowly, so I couldn't even breathing because my body freaked out. It was so cold that my legs and my arms were like hurting, you know, because it was like going numb, and I was like, shit, like I want to get out. So everything they told me not to do, and everybody else, they were saying the same thing, that they were all focusing on like, fuck, how bad it is. And Wim Hof was saying, don't think about it, just do it. So just get in there and see what happens, and just.
Did you eventually kind of get to any place where you started to be like, okay?
Yeah. I would say so. It was 2 minutes, and those were extremely fast 2 minutes.
man,
I don't know why. I think I know why, because everyone was like, I cannot believe it was 2 minutes, because it was so
I'll
fast.
speak to you soon.
So I
Right.
think because the first minute or a little less or around it, everybody's freaking out, so they're in a survival mode and they don't think about time. You know, they don't have the perception of time, as you know, they're not as aware of it because they're so focused on what they're feeling.
Their experience in that one very moment.
Yeah, so that freak out is like a minute, and then you kind of like get to slow down your breathing, and you kind of calm down. You're just like you don't even feel that cold anymore, and then they start doing the countdown like 10, 9. You're like, what? It's already over?
Wow.
And then when you get out of there, it's like you feel hot. You don't feel any cold, and it's like it.
Yeah, I bet, dude, because you started to kind of get used to that freezing cold, and then you're just fucking back
and
into regular air. It's gonna feel hot.
Yeah, I think what happened also is you're like, when your body freaks out like this, it feels like it needs a lot of blood everywhere. You know, like it sends the blood to every to your extremities to warm you up, to like make sure you're not gonna get hypothermia. So when you get out, you're all like, you know, like already like adapted a little bit to this cold. So yeah, you feel much warmer. And I love being with all these people in there, because like there's all kinds of different people, but you see the same thing in their eye where like they're like, fucking shit, man, we did it, you know. And then a lot of people wanted to go back. They're like, yeah, man, that was fucking great, like, can we do it again?
Oh, shit.
But we didn't do it again because the event had to be over.
Ha. Well, not for you. You got fucking bags of ice at home, don't you?
Yeah, I bought like this bunch of cocktail ice for like $2 a bag.
Yeah. Yo, that's awesome. Don't fucking kill yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. Yeah, just the beginning. It's funny because I think ice baths showed me something that I thought I already had like such experience in there after 2 years. But
In like cold showers
yeah.
and jumping into cold water.
yeah, but I guess with ice it's a little different because it's like it's like
Dude, and
you freak
water
out much
itself
more, yeah.
must be like a better conductor of like energy or something. Because like, you know, I feel like water at the same temperature of air feels colder. Something's going on there, right?
Yeah. So my thoughts were that after I came back to Boston, I'm sure there's a community of people who do Wim Hof, you know, like on Facebook. So I want to find some people on Facebook that are in Boston, and I want to organize this little group, you know, events where we do breathing together and we do the ice bath together, because it is much more fun to do it with a bunch of people than just by yourself.
That's interesting.
You know, if I see my friend doing it, I'm like, hell, I can do it too, you know? That's
Right.
the thing that happened in
Yeah.
the event. Like, everyone seeing each other getting in the ice bath. It's like, okay, I guess all of us are doing it because we can all do it.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, when when you're alone, you're kind of like, shit. You know, I guess I'm gonna do it. But if something, I can just turn it down and make it warmer with a shower.
Right.
So hopefully you'll join this.
Yo, I would maybe have to come out. If you started doing something like that, I feel like, if he's doing it, I can do it.
Right? And man, I'm sure you're gonna find it a very interesting experience to take an ice bath.
Yeah, I've never been in that cold, I don't think.
Yeah. So
It's like in the winter, you just like went and laid down naked in the snow.
yeah, something like that. I feel like with ice it's still a little colder because you melt snow with your body temperature. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you're
No,
submerged.
definitely.
So we should do it sometime. I have a friend of mine who's also like
Dude,
into
and it
Wim
would be
Hof.
great to make some kind of fucking winter picture where we're like
It
not in winter clothes in the middle of the fucking snow. People are like, God damn, that's brutal.
Yeah, one of the quotes I remember from Wim Hof on this event, he was saying, you know how people say, oh, it's cold outside, grab a jacket. His version is, it's cold outside, take off your jacket. You know, like, fuck it, man. And I don't know if you ever seen those guys on YouTube, Yes Theory guys. Have you ever heard of those YouTubers?
I think I know the concept about
Yeah, they
Yes.
they have like this seek discomfort
thing.
slogan.
seek discomfort. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, I love it. I like they're funny guys, you know, like, and they're fucking, I don't know, they're like about 25 and they're fucking big now, man. I'm sure they make a shitload of money. Like, they just grab random people off the streets and like send them to like different countries to travel and shit.
Oh, what?
Like they were trying to find random Uber drivers. They're gonna say yes to go skydiving on the spot.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, right.
And that's not even the most expensive one. You know, skydiving is probably like about $200 each or something. But they've been like sending. They found 2 random people from 2 continents. You know, different. Like, one is from fucking Amsterdam and the other one is from Mexico. You know, and they had to find those people who are gonna say yes to it. But they swapped their lives for like 72 hours. So the
Whoa.
person came to US, lived in this person's house, and the opposite. And it's interesting. So they went to this Wim Hof.
That's fucking super wild.
Yeah, so they were like, yeah, we heard about
Oh.
this guy Wim Hof, so we want to see if he's actually legit. So they went there with their filming crew, and he was supposed to train them, but he decided not to train them like he would train his like old groups. Because there was like latest research study shows that you don't even need the breathing as much.
Right.
Because it's all about the power of the mind, you know?
Yeah, I actually had a thought about that. How placebo, how powerful it is, but how
Yeah.
it's like hard to access.
Yeah.
Because you basically have to believe that something's gonna happen.
Yeah, anticipation is
But
the key.
you can't believe it if you don't know. But how can you know?
How
if
can you know?
You can't make it happen because you have to make yourself believe it can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when you do, for example, the breathing or just even the meditations itself, when I say meditation,
Something
is,
just needs to convince you, I think.
yeah, you know, one of the things
Aw.
about humans that we have this frontal lobe that can make a thought more real than the outside world. You know, if you when you
Right,
focus on
that's
something, you
interesting.
know, like for example, when you're fearful of something happening, when you focus on something and you can feel, you know, you can feel the thing that you don't want to happen, and it freaks you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you make this thought that didn't happen yet. It's not even. It doesn't even mean it's gonna happen,
Right.
but you
the
feel it.
anxiety is sort of different than the body's knee-jerk reaction to certain stimulation. Like, have you seen? I don't know who this guy was that was on Joe Rogan recently. He's a scientist, some kind of brain studying guy. Wrote a book about it.
What's his name? Do you remember his name? Kinda.
I'd have to just look.
What
it up.
what did they talk about?
What? That was nice. He was talking about he did this study on a certain part of the brain, and his work kind of resulted in people understanding that part of the brain as the anxiety, fear part of the brain, when in reality there was like it was something that your body does unconsciously. It's the part of the brain that reacts to if something bad is outside. Like they did a test where they showed the people a blue square and shocked them so that the brain, you know, correlated blue square with pain.
Pain, yeah.
And then they were showing them things and subliminally showed them blue square, and this part of the brain lit up, and they weren't conscious of it. You know what I mean? So, like, what that proved was the medications that, like, benzos, are designed to, like, affect that part of the brain, and their idea was it'll affect anxiety, you know? Because in mice it made them less timid.
Okay.
But what anxiety turns out to be is our conscious understanding of that situation. So our body feels a certain way, and we think some way about that. You know?
Yeah, your body feels that
And so
future possibility that is not happening, but you feel it now. So you
Right.
kind of you feel the thing that you don't want to happening right now.
it exaggerates it,
Yeah,
in
definitely.
a sense, I guess.
It's like this thing.
But what's interesting, though, is he points out that these medications don't work because while they may make people more timid, the fear is still there.
Yeah.
Their conscious understanding and beliefs and all that is still there.
Well-
It's just their behavior is different.
Yeah. By changing
Like, they'll
your
go to the
behavior.
party, but they'll still be uncomfortable. Something like that. I don't know. But I was really interested by that guy. He was talking about all
I wonder
sorts
who
of
this
shit
guy
like that.
was.
Yeah, it was a more recent one. I fucking
should
wish I
check it
could
out.
remember his name. Ha, Davis, look that up.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Let's just see that.
Smoke more weed. I think.
I have a CBD
what
joint.
would I look up?
Look up just Joe Rogan,
Latest podcast or something.
JRE, powerful JRE, and
Jerry.
look at his videos, most recent to old.
Yeah, that conversation, like, it also makes me think of the guy that I showed you, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
Yeah, so, you know what I thought was a wonderful and fascinating thing is that, so, I followed Wim Hof for a while, and I followed fucking Joe Dispenza for a while, too, and they are kind of talking about the same thing and just a little different experiences. So, where Wim Hof uses nature, you know, the cold exposure and breathing and meditation, Joe Dispenza uses just meditation mostly, you know, but in essence,
Right.
it's the same thing.
It's the power of your mind.
Yeah, in different words. It kind of the similar words, but you know they're different. Like Wim Hof is not a scientist; he's just a dude who's been doing this shit.
Right, but also, like, I guess if I wanted to try and tie in the guy I listen to, who's just I actually think he really only has this one speech that he gave to some people that really puts it all together really well. That Eric Thomas dude. He,
Oh yeah, yeah, I know him.
He's basically always just talking about, like, I just made up my fucking mind. That was it. I changed my mind. I stopped feeling
Yeah.
sorry for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I worked hard as shit, way harder than other people had to do, but you know what?
Yeah.
He's like, now I'm here.
Oh,
and
nice drop.
other people have, for example, been enslaved for 400 years, and they were like, we're going to get through this.
Right.
He's like, and what's your fucking thing you can't get through?
Yeah. What?
Like,
what's
really?
What's your
Is
excuse?
that really, And so, it's all in the head.
Oh yeah,
ultimately.
definitely. Everything is in the head, I would say, but that's why I think taking ice baths and cold shower is such a big thing because it makes you go through this pain.
Deciding to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, deciding to be uncomfortable
because
because yeah, in the long term it's
delayed gratification or whatever.
and especially today, everybody's fucking soft and spoiled.
Shit.
You know?
Yeah, no, I think there's a thing where people almost expect that they're not supposed to ever feel like unpleasant sensation.
Yeah.
Or sad or like the anxiety and depression medication shit.
Yeah.
It's called being a human, dude. It's not you don't have a disease.
Yeah. Yeah, it's,
know?
it's facing the uncomfortable, facing the
And if anything, if you are like really, really feeling poorly, like take a look at your diet and your exercise and your fucking,
yeah.
Even if you're like me and you're thin, like I can still be a person who sits around all day and,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel very good because my body is just
Yeah.
atrophying away. Anybody can be like improve their
Mm-hmm.
their fucking happiness by literally, I think, go outside, get vitamin D, and run a little bit.
Yeah, just move.
And then
you know.
eat some better food, and all that kind of shit. Don't eat sweets late at night.
Oh,
I
that's
can
what
say
did
that
last
because
night.
that's exactly what I do. And I
Yeah.
know it's one of the things that affects how I feel. Because if I eat some really good food the night before, the next
Oh, yeah.
morning you feel fucking great.
Yeah.
So, things
Yeah.
as simple as that. And then also understanding, but you are going to feel uncomfortable a lot. Because if you want to do cool things,
Exactly.
that's what it takes.
Yeah, you have to. Especially if you're starting something that you have no experience in.
Right.
Like, for example, the thing I told you about real estate investing. I have no experience in talking to people about this stuff on the phone. And it involves a lot of talking on the phone. So one of the things I know I have to go through, and I always had this thing with the phone, like I hate calling people, especially people that I don't know.
And that's one of those things, Jimmy fucking pointed this out to me. The dude I work with at Boston Digital,
Yeah.
he was like, dude, people nowadays, I hate the phone. They think it's like their thing, it's a unique thing to not like talking on the phone, but when he grew up, his mom made him answer the fucking phone because she's like, nobody likes answering the phone, you gotta learn how to fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's an inherently uncomfortable thing. It's like being
Yeah.
face to face with a person sometimes, but all of a sudden, of course you're not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
It's just one of these things you gotta get used to.
Oh, yeah. Especially for me that I came from Russia, so I didn't speak English very well.
Yeah, dude.
So imagine
Yeah.
when even you're facing a person, you have to focus to make your point, and then you're on
Yeah.
the phone, so you don't see that person. So you need to make sure you're clear about things you're saying, especially if you're dealing business with you're fucking buying a house from someone. You better make sure you sound like you know what you're talking about. Because if you're somebody who's trying to sell their house, because a lot of those houses when they sell them, it's because they didn't pay their fucking debt to the bank, so they're like, okay, we're gonna foreclose your house, we're gonna sell it on auction. So, or you pay for it, but if they don't pay in a certain amount of days, that's when you, the middleman, comes along and he's like, okay,
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah. So a lot of
So you, the middleman.
yeah, basically the thing is called wholesaling, it's basically how everything works right here in America. Like restaurant, you're like servers and bartenders are wholesalers because you have somebody who makes the product, you have the chef who cooks the food that the owner purchased.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the people who are going to pay for the food. So only thing you do is basically get in the middle and say, hey, I get you this shit, and you get a small part of it, It's the same thing with the house. You're just in the middle, and you buy it, and you sell it right away. So you don't even own it for any time, unless you want to own it and fix it up or whatever.
Wow.
But a lot of money that people make in real estate investing with this kind of things is with people who are losing their homes.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? Are you going to be dealing with people who are can't afford their house anymore and talking to these people?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be just these people, because there's also there's also people who are just looking to sell some property. A lot of real estate trading is that there's a bunch of wholesalers who wholesale to each other, because I can buy a house from another real estate investor and sell it to another real estate investor, because we keep selling them, so eventually somebody will do something with it. But it's like the guy who was teaching us on this event, the other event that completely is not related to Wim Hof.
Yeah, not Wim Hof. You've been exploring a lot of cool things
I've been
lately.
just jumping. I feel like if it's the moment when we talk about cool things, we gotta. A lot of this thing have a common theme, but I have ADD or something. I don't like to think of myself who has ADHD or whatever. I don't like labeling it because I'm like.
I don't think you need to find your passion. I think, that's a thing that people for some reason think these days is you're supposed to find one thing that
one
gives
thing
you
only.
purpose or something.
Yeah.
And it's dude, just find stuff you like.
It confused me a
general.
lot, yeah, because I was like, okay, I like so many things, and I would get frustrated when I was younger, because I was like, well, if supposed to have this one thing that you're going to be doing later in life, what the fuck am I going to do? Because I like a whole bunch of different things. But the good thing is that you don't have to follow what other people say, and you can just,
Look at Elon Musk. He's always doing a fucking different $1 million project every other week.
Yeah, Elon Musk's pretty crazy. In a good way, I think.
I do genuinely think there's a good chance he really does just hope he'll make a difference for the better in the human race.
Yeah.
And that's his thing that he wants to do.
Yeah, that thing he's trying to do right now.
I think there's a really good chance that's the case,
Yeah, like replacing cars with just cars that drive by themselves and stuff like this. Also, there was like a first little chip that you can insert in it's like a Bluetooth that connects
to
to your
connect
brain.
your fucking brain to the
Dude,
internet.
that's insane. That it already
he
happened.
wants to affect the data flow rate of information. You
yeah,
know?
this is like some futuristic shit, man.
Right
like,
now we have
here.
a little window into the internet in our hand that we can pick up, and it gives us fucking radiation and shit. And it takes a long time because you got to type shit into Google and search through results.
Yeah.
If you can just think through Google, that's some crazy shit. Is that like how that works?
I think it's kind of. I mean,
like what kind of a
but
system is that?
yeah, I don't know. I don't study that a lot. I find it very interesting.
Because you said they put some shit in people's heads now.
Yeah,
right?
there was like a first chip that was inserted in someone's somewhere, like maybe not necessarily in their fucking brain, but it was like a Bluetooth connection.
You know they've been you heard Robo Roach in my last podcast or two.
Did I? No, I don't think so.
I fucking found out they have this surgery you can perform on a cockroach, basically, where you put it to sleep with cold water, and this kit you buy for like $20.
Yeah.
You like clip its antenna and stick a wire down it, and then fucking put a chip on his head, and then glue it all together. Then you Bluetooth connect to a fucking cockroach. You can control him where he walks.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Oh, I think I saw some guy on YouTube doing it.
And yeah, you can like get information from the cockroach about what stimulation it's experiencing.
Yeah, it's
crazy shit.
Pretty fucking crazy. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing, you know. Like, I think it's cool, and I think what Elon Musk is doing is, he's like, it's going to happen eventually, so I'm just gonna help it happen, you know. Maybe he thinks of it as like a step to
that's
like
interesting.
evolution, you know, next step in evolution, and it definitely is.
So one of the things I wonder about, like, you heard all the alien shit lately.
Kind of.
UFOs are now basically an accepted thing.
Yeah.
Like, things that even the military has. In one of the more recent Joe Rogan podcasts, he had this guy who was in the fucking military, in the Air Force or whatever. Super, super credible dude. Talking about in 2004 when he chased some shit in some Hornet. That was the name of the plane. 4 guys were in 2 planes, and they were doing an exercise, and then they happened to be in the presence of like some shit that other people have been tracking on radars for the weeks coming or before or whatever. And there's footage of it, you know, you can see the video of this Tic Tac looking thing that just fucking shoots off to the left from where they are.
Damn.
And it was jamming their radar, so they can't tell exactly, you know, how fast or how far it was, you know, away and moving. But regardless of that, any possible speed that it was going within the given circumstances, no matter how far it was, because, you know, he knew how far he was away from the water. So no matter where it was in that space, it's impossible that anything we have could have flown as quickly as it did. It like the fastest airplane we have right now, he said would have taken like you know, it's like it takes less than like a second for it to go off of the screen, and he said the fastest airplane would have taken like a couple like solid seconds.
They're like, that was a UFO.
Well, yeah, unidentified flying object is all it means, you know? So they're like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck that shit was. There's these stories of shit coming out of the water and going back in, and it's wild. Then this dude, Bob Lazar, who says he worked on this shit for the government, he saw the technology in play, like being used, and they're trying to understand how it works, how to use it.
Yeah.
I fucking believe it, man. Straight up.
Yeah, I mean,
I believe there's technology that they just don't understand.
Ooh. Oh, that's a glass. I thought it was your bong. Nice. Yeah.
He said, damn.
Yeah, I believe that it could totally be true because, you know, the fact that I didn't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And the opposite, the fact, you know, fuck, I'm stoned.
Oh, hey. Look at that.
Want to smoke that CBD joint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Card full. I wonder when that.
I'm thinking grabbing some joints from Andrew so I can smoke less actual bud and smoke.
I like the CBD joints. These damn cookies, man, they're addictive. I love these fucking
Oh yeah.
mulattoes. Sponsor us. Yeah, I bet that'll fucking happen.
But yeah, I mean, I jumped from one topic to another one, like nothing to do.
Yeah, that's all right.
But we're on Wim Hof topic, so let's try to go back to it a little bit. Because I mentioned things like discomfort and shit like this, but I never explained too much of actual science, and that's what I'm actually want to do. So on this event, they give out these little bags. There's a bunch of merch in it. They have those dope beanies with Wim Hof method like sticker.
That's awesome.
Those are super warm beanies, man. You'll love it. And among all the things, there's a book with all the science, and there's an app. I'm not sponsored by Wim Hof, by the way. But there's an app. I purchased a full $2 version of it.
Okay.
So like it has the exercises, it has the like meditation technique and the commitment. So, and he has like this little videos explaining everything, how to do everything. You can track your shit here. And there's a whole section where there's like mini classes, you know, he like explains you everything. The power of breathing, for example, in this one. So
That's pretty cool.
I want to get more deep into it, you know, and study some science of it. Because that's what people want these days, you know. For something to be truly like he says that...
We all want to know the facts.
Yeah. The only reason why Wim Hof method is so popular now and people take him seriously, not as some crazy guy, because there is proof, there's testimonials of people who have done this shit and who it affected them because they were able to tap in their in a deeper part of the mind where they get to affect their physical body.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I believe there's so much power in mind over matter.
Yeah, and it's so much potential for this generation because a lot of people right now, like, it's a kind of weird shift, you know, over last couple years where people started, like, actually getting into, like, mind over matter thing more serious because before it was kind of like a thing, you know, like, it's not possible.
People think it's all hocus pocus type of stigma.
Yeah, but now people actually consider it to be real, and there's people, like, there's this guy, Wim Hof, traveling, and there's all other, like, Joe Dispenza and his team. There's lots of people now. Tony Robbins, you probably heard of Tony Robbins. Actually,
That sounds familiar.
yeah, I don't know how. So, he does these events, too. He has, like, 4-day events, like, a workshop, where he helps you, like, break through, you know? He's, like, find, eliminate whatever stops you from, like, achieving bigger things, you know? Like your little theories, because, like, a lot of people are fearful of shit, you know. But for example, with me, when I didn't smoke weed for 40 days, I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he was saying with whatever your thing is that you cannot stop doing, but you find enough willpower to stop doing it, to stop smoking cigarettes, stop drinking, whatever, right, and stop overeating, you may be able to stop it with the power of your will, which is really hard, but eventually you'll probably go back to it unless you find and eliminate the reason why you were doing it in the first place.
Right.
So with me, I did not find the actual reason why I smoke a lot of weed and I don't want to stop or I can't stop. I didn't work on that cause. There was a deeper reason why I do those things, but I eliminated just the little thing of smoking weed. But I didn't.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because
Now I'm back to smoking a bunch of weed.
I would bet that it has to do with like my dad always taught us, like, people do drugs and shit because they're bored and they're capable of so much stuff. And they just don't know where to put their energy.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I think. I think the only reason I would sit down and smoke weed and do nothing, well, I guess one reason is because want to be lazy. I'm exhausted or something. Or two, because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
You know, in the middle of the day, if you smoke weed, you know, something like that. I always could justify it if I'm doing something else. You know, I'm smoking weed and doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But if you just sit around and get high and fucking watch Netflix or something.
And eat popcorn.
It's it's because you want to do something. You know?
Or you have it, yeah, you feel a need to do something.
Yeah.
You know, when I moved in my new apartment, I didn't have Wi-Fi for like 3 days.
Speaking
And-
of weed, where's the lighter?
And I did, dude, and I was like,
Spark up this CBD joint.
I was like, I need to do something, you know? I started reading a book because I was like, I need to make my mind busy.
You know, I actually had that same experience. I did, was it you who told me the meditation in the morning where you don't use screens for an hour?
For like an hour or 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the times I did that, I woke up and I was like, what am I going to do? And I ended up reading a book, and I was like, how about that? I guess that's what I would use my time with.
Yeah.
If I weren't fucking staring at a screen from the moment you wake up on your phone, on your fucking computer, on your fucking...
Man, it's crazy
whatever.
how we are seeking those things. And even if you decide, like, with best intentions, you know, I'm going to read a book, because an hour of reading, at least an hour, you know, spend the rest of your day before work. At least for me, you know, you work in the morning, so it's different for you. But before you
No,
work
I
at park,
work,
you know what I'm saying?
some
Like,
nights too.
I can spend, and I'm sure you can spend 5 hours in front of a computer, but you know that 1 hour of book out of those 5 hours, so you know you just spend 4 hours at the computer instead, and 1
Right.
hour reading. If you just do that for a week, you have 7 hours of book reading. It's like 7 hours out of nowhere, you know. Instead of doing something fucking stupid like this,
And
you read
the
a
other
book.
thing I noticed is like certain bursts of time, like time is our most valuable commodity because
yes.
the way we use it can have such an insane impact. You can spend 30 seconds recording yourself on a cell phone and have it go viral.
Yes,
So that 30 seconds was really well used.
exactly.
You know what I mean? All it took was 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then you just upload it, and there you go, and then all the shit that happens
Or
because
you
of
can
it.
spend 5 minutes stretching, and that rest of your day you feel so much physically better.
Yeah,
5 minutes stretching and breathing, and then taking deep breaths throughout the day consciously.
yeah,
Using that time like that is going to have a wicked huge impact.
yeah.
Or, another example, you could spend fucking 2 minutes eating mushrooms and then have a very impacted 8 hours.
Yeah, probably like 6 to 8 hours. Yeah. Yeah. So I think this modern thing that most of the people are doing as of being employees, I think that's the worst kind of trade you can possibly do, is trading your time for that little amount of money. Yeah, I don't want to really get into talk about money right now, because as soon as I say this thing, I want to talk more about it. You know how I am. I just jump from topics, but in general, everyone agreed that it's fine. I'm gonna work 40 hours a week. And dude, imagine, it's like compounding. Imagine 40 hours this week, next week. How many fucking years of
getting a
your
lighter.
life are you going to be just stuck at work? What are you looking for? The lighter?
Aha, I found one.
Nice.
Wasn't far.
Didn't have to go far.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Yeah, so, you know, coming back from this trip, so I went 4 days without work, and I was studying something and seeing people that's the things that I want to do in my life, you know? I wish I was one of the instructors there, you know?
You could
But
be.
instead, I go back, and next day, instantly, I go back to work and I close as a bar back. And I'm just like, I felt so unhappy the first day in there. And even though, you know, I have a kind of a skill now to, like, you know, change my mood when I want to, using the breathing and focus. But it still just makes me, like, sad that I could be out there, you know, like, learning about this shit, practicing it and teaching other people, making people's lives better. And instead, I'm just stuck in this job, doing this thing that I don't even think matters at all.
That's bad cool. You can hear this joint.
Yeah, like, thank you, sir.
It's like fucking weed ASMR. Get the noise into the mic, but not the smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Our generation, I think, is gonna be very interesting. I actually think the millennials and Generation Z are gonna do a lot of good things for the world. But I'm really wondering, like, what's up with the generation below us? Because they're the kids who are, like, you know, right now, just got born. I mean, imagine these guys when they grow up. Like, I think, you know, being born into technology the way it is, like, they're going to operate differently.
Yeah.
So I wonder what it's going to be
Because
like.
we still have the advantage of being regular people before. Because I think we had at least like 7 or 8
Yeah.
years before this thing of technology just rapidly started happening. So we have an idea how is it to grow up without the phones and without the internet. Because at least for me, like we didn't, like before I moved to America, my family never had Wi-Fi in their house. Seriously, to watch a movie, I
Right.
had to rent a fucking CD from a store or
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
my grandmother's house and use her computer to download a movie. Where
Yeah,
now,
I remember days of renting movies at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
That's how it was here, at least.
I kind of miss it, man. You know, it made movies so much more special because right now you get on
Yeah.
Netflix, there's like thousands of movies, but you're like, I find
don't
it
wanna
hard.
watch any of
I don't
these.
want to watch any of this. Like it's a rare day when I go on Netflix and I'm like, I find something quickly, something interesting because most of it.
Yeah, it's all gotta be like the big thing now. Like last Netflix thing that was really like, oh shit, was the Sticks and Stones.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, because it was like so controversial or whatever.
Yeah.
It had to be this huge fucking deal
Kevin
for
Ashtray.
me to actually feel like going on Netflix and watching something. Because I think movies kind of suck nowadays. They're all looking
Yeah.
for just these franchise movies, you know?
Yeah, I think they got so good at making movies, but the quality of like the
The
story.
storytelling is
like
the most
plot.
important part, and it's,
Yeah.
not as good as it
Sad.
could be.
Oh yeah. That's why I watch old movies a lot.
Yeah, dude, I've been trying to watch more classics, because even a bunch of old movies I still haven't seen. A bunch of really good ones.
Yeah. I've been watching Twin Peaks lately by David Lynch, and it's very interesting. You know, I find it.
That's a more modern show, right?
Well.
Or is it?
The first 2 seasons were made 25 years ago,
Oh,
and then the third season, I think we talked about it when I came
I
by
think
to
I
give you the
do
keys.
remember you telling me about this.
So the third season is 25 years after. Because-
Yeah, and a bunch of the actors are still there.
Yeah, most of them. Just I think one most important is missing, but
Yeah, that's wild. That's a weird thing to do. I kind of want to check that out.
it is definitely not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Because he has a lot of like, his style. I think, from what I've seen at least in Twin Peaks, is he takes his time with everything. And to me, as somebody who likes watching movies, not just to see the story going on, but from every shot I learn how they put shots together. You know. So, I love it, especially when you're stoned, because he has like this weird theme of consciousness, and you know. So it's not for everyone. Also, it has a lot of long tracking shots of people walking and shit like this,
Interesting.
which for me it puts me in the atmosphere of this place. You know, it makes me feel like I'm in there. For a lot of people, sometimes I would lose my patience and be like, "Really? Are we still watching this after 15 minutes of this shit?" But there's not too many of those moments. But
Davis was showing me a show. You ever heard of Daria? It's you've seen BoJack Horseman, right?
yeah,
The character Diana, I guess, is based off of this character Daria in the show, and it's I think it's like from the 90s or something. It's a cartoon about like a really like a sarcastic high school girl.
no, I've never seen it.
But yeah, I just
Is it good?
watched an episode last night with
Is it
Davis.
good?
It was actually, yeah, I dug it. It's a cool show.
Davis. Oh fuck.
Oh,
You know, also the thing about, since we're still having the podcast on the Wim Hof thing, because we're smoking weed right now, without THC, but in general cannabis. He says we have those receptors in our brain. We have the opioid receptors and cannabinoid receptors, meaning that with his method, you can trigger those parts of the brain that makes you feel like you're on fucking opioids or cannabinoids, without actually taking them.
that's
So
fascinating.
that's where he says that it can change the modern medicine, because you don't need to use fucking
Drugs.
basically heroin, you know, because opioids are basically like heroin is an opioid.
Yeah,
Where you can just
to
do
achieve the effects of pain relief or something like that.
because those things don't actually take the pain away; they just mask it. So you still have all those things; it just masks the symptoms, and you don't feel it, but it's still bad. Whereas the breathing and the cold exposure and the meditation, this whole thing of Wim Hof, it actually will cure you. Like there's people who had like severe trauma and injury. You know, people today, in today's medicine, we're very good at those. How do you call them? Like physical injuries, you know? You broke your leg, you broke whatever. They can even fucking give you a new arm, you know?
Yeah,
But things like depression and shit like this, we're not
right.
good at, you know, because so far we just prescribed a bunch of pills that just don't take it away, just make it worse for
well,
you.
right. Like I was saying about the anxiety medication thing, how
Yeah.
they realized that although it's affecting this part of the brain that has to do with your knee-jerk, unconscious reaction to bad stimulus, it affecting that part of the brain still doesn't affect the way you feel about what you're, scared of.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's actually it's a big deal. It's fun and cool, and I like it as a hobby, but also I'm looking into it as more of a serious mission that I can join on, because this is like one of the things. That's how I want to change the world,
Right.
At the end of the event, we're like, save the world, like change the world, like screaming.
That's cool.
Yeah, there was so much energy, and everyone was just like fucking pumped up. And also, that's why I was talking about Joe Dispenza, because they're doing this thing of changing the world's perception towards those things, mind over matter. And doing Wim Hof method just makes it feel good. Like literally, my little sister, for example, she has
somebody who could benefit from that kind of a thing.
Yeah, she has like anxiety thing, where you just have those thoughts that just like, what do you call it, obsessive compulsive disorder, where you just think obsessively about certain like thing and you cannot stop it, and it makes you feel certain ways.
Like you're hung up on a certain thought.
And you get out. She's like, how do I do it? How, like, she's asking me because she sees that I've been practicing shit, and I probably like improved my personality a little bit.
For me, one of the most important things to realize about like how to make peace come from within is realizing that you choose where to put your care and your concern, and that's a temporary thing. It can move around as you're going about your days.
Oh yeah.
And it will, whether you want to or not. Being conscious of it and deciding where to go just empowers you more.
Yeah, because if you just wake up and you just let the day happen without doing anything about it, it's kind of like your environment controls you. Where if you have a plan for this day where to put your energy, it's gonna be you using your environment to control it, so you're not like a computer program, you
funny.
are the program.
At the same time, I kind of believe this contradictory advice from Cornel West that's like moving by the spirit, and I think I take it a little more farther than he maybe intends. But I really think of it like if you really know what you're doing, if you're really doing what you should be doing, you don't have to control it so much. You can just let yourself do what you're gonna do and understand, like, hey, I'm moving towards what I want to do.
Oh yeah, like for example, if you're Wim Hof,
but you have to be conscious
of the day, right? Because you already have all these things that you want to do, and that it affects people positively. Where if I wake up and I don't have a plan for the day, I'm probably going to end up smoking a bunch of weed and watching YouTube. And instead of, I'm like, I should probably read a book, but I'm so addicted to YouTube. Seriously, man. I'm so addicted that I find myself finding all the possible excuses and ways to get back to not doing shit.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. So if you find yourself doing something like that, maybe there's some value in it. Maybe you can identify what the useful part of that is. And for me, that's finding cool nuggets of information on YouTube and then podcasting about it.
I'm sure I benefited a lot from watching all this YouTube.
Hey, isn't that how you found Wim Hof?
Partly, yes. A lot of it. And like all these people like Tony Robbins,
it's all about
and
a
Joe
balance.
Dispenza. There's so much of them on YouTube. But a lot of this, my problem with YouTube, for example, is that I keep finding good, useful information, but I keep spending my time watching it instead of actually using it. So like I have more than enough information to change my life, but I'm kind of on the same level. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done a lot of things since like last year. I got better at certain things, but mainly I'm still working at a job that I don't like. I'm still like thinking like, oh man, it's kind of like the same situation as the year before.
Attitude leads to action, though. I think feeling. Davis, do you want that? I'm good on that.
Come on, there's a whole bunch.
I'm just
so
on
attitude.
cookie level now.
You were talking about the attitude.
Yeah, because although sometimes you might be thinking about something a lot, and you're like, fuck, I know this thing, but I'm not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
I do think you're still moving in the right direction because eventually these thoughts pile up, and it finally makes you say, fucking A. There's been too many days of this, and I want to make some kind of action.
Yeah, because everything starts with a thought. Like, I remember we were talking about having a podcast. You were saying, like, oh, yeah, I should make a podcast, and now we're here with all this set up. And who knows where it's going to bring you, man.
Yeah, that'd be neat if this was, people actually grew an audience and shit.
Yeah, man, because that's probably like one of the things that you want to happen. And you should focus on this because this is fun.
And no-
You're gonna have fun, and when you have like it's like a creative part of your life, you know, where you like when you work in Whole Foods, even though I'm sure you like Whole Foods, but in general, it's like you don't feel like you're doing something very important or good. But when
If anything, I feel bad for all the chickens that I fucking stab onto a spit and rotisserie
and for your
cook.
finger for sticking up the butts all the time.
Yeah, I actually got good at it. I don't gotta open up the chicken through the butt anymore.
Oh, nice.
And just kind of pop it right onto the thing.
Just learning it.
Takes a while to get good at it.
Yeah.
I was just saying the other night, it's kind of insane when I think about it. Like, I'll pretty much cook 100 chickens in a day.
That's
Or
a lot.
by the end of the day, both people who worked, the store is cooked, 100 chickens-ish.
100 chickens ish.
Ish, yeah.
Ish.
And, like, sometimes, dude, the chickens, they'll get cooked, and then they'll get cooled, and then they won't sell. And then they'll go into the fucking compost grinding machine. And
So you
it's
can just take a bunch of chickens home.
I don't know.
Are
They're
you
pretty
allowed?
strict about that.
Oh, they're not. There are.
I wouldn't try to steal because
I mean,
I
is
just
it
don't think
stealing
it's
if
worth it.
they're gonna throw them away anyway? Like,
Well,
this
there's
trash is our
times where they'll
property.
lost things and let you know, like, hey, this stuff. I'm pretty sure, like, they'll let you take some stuff home if it's gone bad. But I think technically, because they sell it at the compost, they sell it to a company that makes fucking fertilizer out of it.
Oh, okay.
And so, what's crazy though is you'll have a chicken who lived in a factory farmed life, slaughtered,
And
fucking
not even
cooked,
used in there.
cooled, and then put into a composting, like, slaughtered, seasoned, cooked, cooled, and then grinded up into
Yeah,
fertilizer. It's just such a crazy life cycle to think about. Humans
That
are so
sounded like the
fucking
5
wild.
Ds of dodgeball, but the 5 S's of slaughter. Slaughter, season.
Slaughter, season,
What was the other thing you said?
simmer, I guess. I don't know, because cook,
Seasoned,
Yeah.
slaughtered.
cook, cool, and compost. Slaughter, season, cook, cool, and compost.
Compost and killed.
Nice.
There's one of them's twice.
Killed, seasoned, cooked, cooled, and compost.
Can we have more coffee? I'm also
I
super
can make
addicted
more
to
coffee if you'd
man.
like.
Huh?
I'm super addicted to coffee, dude.
Mm.
You know how I started noticing this thing that happens when you do coke?
Hmm.
You get fucking drained after this.
Of course.
This
from-
thing started happening with coffee. Before, I would never notice the, how do you call it, the
Crash?
But now, I drink a bunch of coffee, and after a while, I feel this, like, woo, like, you're good, you're pumped, you're wired, and then at a certain point, you're like, oh my god, I'm so done, I'm so tired.
The yin and the yang.
Fucking sucks, man. Like, literally, sometimes I'm just like, I'm not gonna drink coffee so I can feel more energy. And, it's true, because I did some research on how...
Get it from more sustainable sources like fruit.
Yeah. I did research on caffeine, and there's lots, like, bad things about it. Like, it's not bad for you to drink a cup of coffee a day, but it interrupts your sleep cycles. Even if you drink coffee, like, 7 hours before bed, it's still in your system, and it's still... So what happens when you drink coffee, I think, the chemicals in caffeine, they block the chemicals of you feeling tired, which are natural chemicals in your body that makes you feel tired, right? So they build up in your body. But you don't feel sleepy, but it doesn't mean it's not there. You know what I'm saying? So all these chemicals of sleepiness is in your body right now. But because you have a bunch of coffee and people like me and you keep drinking coffee, we keep blocking those chemicals from entering. But eventually
sense.
you're going to have to stop drinking coffee and they all just going to...
Open the
And-
floodgates.
And after one night's sleep, you don't like sleep out all of these things because they still build up in your body. So it takes actually some time to wear them off. And so what happens when you drink coffee? It activates the same system as when you are stressed. So it just makes like adrenaline rush, So it makes you stressed. Coffee does not give you more energy. It just activates the fight or flight
Like in
mode.
Prometheus Rising, he talks about how everyone's dying of like adrenaline poisoning. He calls it.
Oh yeah. Coffee, man.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point though.
Yeah. So by not drinking coffee, you'll probably have more energy.
Do you think everybody should do mushrooms?
Do I think everybody should do mushrooms? I think everybody should, like, people should just decide if they want to do it or not. Because, like, I know some people who are like, I never do that because this is blah, blah, blah. But I think they just have a wrong perception of why would you take mushrooms, Because there's this propaganda of that this is, like, you're going to go crazy, it's hallucinating.
Do you think mushrooms are a fun party thing?
If you're with close friends, it definitely can be a fun party thing. But if you're with a bunch of random dudes,
You know, it's funny
no good.
actually. When I ate like a really small amount of mushrooms one time and went out with some people, I was just like getting in these real fucking conversations with people. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like really just super connecting with some people on some like wild shit that they would not talk about that night had they not talked with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happened to me too.
And so I do kind of feel you on that, but if you're really tripping on shrooms, like, I almost think it should be treated like the Native Americans treat peyote or, you know, any kind of...
It's like a ceremony where you
Yeah,
just
like
kind
it's
of
a
focus
real...
on it.
It's like a mind-expanding experience. It's a tool. It's a...
Yeah. Exactly. I definitely think that taking mushrooms recreationally, oh yeah, let's just party. I think it's a waste of a good product. Because, like, maybe not everybody should do it. And maybe not everybody's interested in it, in, like, expanding your consciousness and playing with your not nervous system, but you're playing with the realities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you take mushrooms, you feel like you're shifting a different place than just being here.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what you're doing, like, with the thing
certainly.
with DMT.
Well, it feels like, have you ever been sick and your mom's taking care of you? You're in a different reality.
Exactly.
Your lights are all off, you're under the blanket, and you've got a throw-up bucket next to you, and people are like...
It's crazy, because it's all in the same space, but kind of like layered.
And or another example, like, if you work early mornings on Sunday or Saturday morning, on Friday and Saturday night, you're the one going to sleep around 8:39, and everyone else is going out and partying.
Yeah,
you're
where
on this
I'm a
different
Friday night
wavelength,
working until 2:30 in the morning, staying
Yeah.
awake. Yeah.
And your world is like you get to see the restaurant with the lights on. Nobody else is there. Nobody else witnesses that.
Yeah.
But there's all these different areas of
Yes, definitely.
the world, the universe, like experience.
Yeah, and that's what I like about mushrooms, that they kind of, Terence McKenna would say,
You start to
boundary
see
dissolution.
the not the complexity of things, but like you think about the inherent amazingness of every little thing.
Yeah, it's like you become more conscious of things, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you just start wondering, like...
The idea
How did
that
this
you
thing
can
get here?
contain a bowl of water for a dog, like decide I want to put this water here that was fucking miles away and
yeah.
treated and at one point was dirty and now it's in a fucking small dish on my floor for a dog.
Yeah,
You know,
they
when you
also
think
make
about that
more-
shit, you're like, whoa, dude.
Mushrooms also make you more conscious, where, when you see drunk people partying, for example, imagine that you have neighbors, your roommates is a good example. They were drunk, and they wouldn't be conscious of you sleeping here, and they'd be just loud, hanging out. If you're in shrooms and you have roommates, you'll make sure you're gonna be like, you're tripping balls, but you're gonna be like, oh, we have this guy. Like, let's just be mindful of it. Let's not be too loud.
Yeah.
Because that was my experience. I had a roommate in the North Queens when we used to live with Alex, the friend of mine, the
Yeah.
Russian dude. He was there, and he was not participating or even interested in that. So we're kind of trying to keep it away from him. And if you're drunk, it's kind of hard to do because you forget about things and you get.
Yeah.
But with shrooms, you're very like. A lot of times.
Well,
You're
my
just
brother's
silent.
friend had a really crazy.
Well, you thought he was Jesus or something.
Well, Davis kind of felt that way afterwards, but what happened was like his friend lost this understanding of like importance of things or something. Like
Yeah, it happens.
He felt
It
like he had
happens.
to prove that things. I think this is how I'm reading the situation, that how it was described to me, but. He could speak for himself. It'd be awesome if I have him on eventually.
Yeah.
I think I might actually. But what happened was he like really freaked out. He started like crumbling a Dutch all over the floor and throwing a bag of weed, and I think he threw a laptop. And then the part that really like made things too wild was he took my oldest brother's very nice like Martin acoustic guitar and like chucked it at my mom's grandfather clock.
Yeah, you told me this story before.
Cracked the guitar, but somehow it must have just hit the wood of the clock. It was okay. Thank fucking God. It was my mother's clock. This whole fucking crazy shit, though.
Yeah.
Fucking wild experience. And, that night really, like, carried a really huge impact on those guys for a while.
Oh, I bet, man, because it sounds like he just went a little too far without somebody, like, kind of, like, calming him down, because... One time, I told you the story when I took like 7 grams of shrooms. Dude, 7 grams, like
That's a
McKenna's way,
huge-
more than 5 grams is a heroic dose. Like it's more than enough.
Yeah.
And I was with the not very right people because my brother and Kate, they were tripping shrooms that night, but they already came down and they were pretty drunk, and so I was there, fucking high as
Just
balls,
diving
dude.
in.
I felt like I was connected to this, like, the source, you know, the thing of, like, probably when he, like, if you think about religious people, they believe when you die, you know, you go somewhere. So I felt it's kind of like I am a part of this huge source that's here, but if I would die, I would just go back to the source, you know, to return to this bigger energy
Right.
thing. And I felt like I was just like, whatever question in life you had about anything that interests you, you know, like the question of like where everything comes from, I would just instantly like upload the information. I would just know the answer. And these guys were they were high and drunk, but they weren't as high as I was, and they were like surprised that I made so much sense of like just saying things. But it got to the point where I started getting scared, you know. I started like feeling like I like boundary dissolution, like you don't feel as
Yeah, no, because like
as an
you're
object anymore. You kind of like when this guy
shrooms will
told
have
me,
these waves of anxiety
Yeah.
that really fucking get intense.
yeah, and you need
start to
have good
feel
people with
like,
you.
oh my god, life itself might not even matter.
Yeah, you feel like you're dying. Some people say because the part of you being Corey or me being Theo, the ego part, you know, of like you being a separate entity, is disappearing, and your ego is literally dying. Like your personality is dying because you feel like nothing. You just feel like you're everything. You know, like you're not separate from the.
Yeah.
And it can be scary. I was like, what? I felt like I was dying, and I was like, I think I should probably go to sleep. What if I die while I'm sleeping? And my brother was like, hey, dude, you're fine. You're not gonna die. You're just high as shit.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was in danger, even though it was just my personality was kind of dissolving. Because one time I forgot who I was. Yeah, I was just like there, like as there as you can be, you know. And I just stared at my hand. It was an acid. It wasn't shrooms. It's a little different, but it does similar thing where it dissolves the boundary. Which one time I feel like I came close to like a dangerous point that for a couple of days after the trip, because I felt like I was just this void of nothingness. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like this. I felt like not me, but I felt the molecules of me. You know, like the chemical compounding of me. Like when I die, I'll still be here, but in a different chemical state. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My body's gonna dissolve, but it's still gonna turn into something else. So it's a cycle of just being everything and nothing at the same time. And when I came down,
You realize like there's no separation between anything because we are all just this one thing
Yes.
that is the universe.
and for 3 days after that, man, I was just kind of like not very emotional about things because I was so like shaken by that feeling that I could still feel it, and I was like, that's kind of like an
Davis is
interesting
back.
void.
You should weigh in on this one.
Fill me in.
Yeah.
We're talking about the impact of a shroom strip.
Yes.
I described a little bit of your experience.
That's not really like possible, you know.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's like too much to get into to do a little bit of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my case, like maybe for other people it could, you know, sort of change the way they see things. Like they might be like, wow, I never really thought of the fact that, you know, my blue could be your green, you know. But for me, it completely fundamentally changed the way I saw
Right.
Dude, I agree with you too. Same
perceived
for me.
reality.
You're right about that first thing you said though. I find it shocking when people do shrooms and come out as like really unaffected people.
I think because a lot of people do them like recreationally, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, let's just go and party with
But
shrooms.
They
I
did
don't
them for
know
different reasons.
How you can have a party on that.
I think
drug.
it's. I mean, it
You
makes
know
you
what
feel
I
great. Like
mean?
if it's something like the first time I did,
You're right about it can make you feel like so giggly and shit.
yeah, and goofy,
like-
and
like
just
a
having
child.
good time.
Yeah.
I think
But,
it's a lot about
still,
what
I
your
feel
mind
like-
state is like when you take them.
I guess so, man. Yeah, when I went into it, I was like, I'm here.
Well, you
to
guys were
think.
talking about the placebo effect earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first time me and my friends did shrooms, we expected to feel giddy and childlike, and
you did,
we
right?
thought we were going to be stupid and goofy, and that's exactly what we were. We were like, you know, these goofy, like, I don't know, we weren't like dubbed necessarily, but we were very giddy and laughing uncontrollably for like no reason.
Oh yeah, it happens to me
And
too.
a lot of that is because we expected to laugh.
Yeah, you
know?
anticipated it.
Yeah.
And not to mention, like, it
Well,
it
that's
does
that thing
actually
amplifies
make you
your
want
current-
to do that.
It like amplifies like your current state of mind.
Right, exactly. You have to be in a good mood to
Yeah,
do those
yeah. The set and setting,
drugs,
right?
you know?
Yeah, it is
won't...
very
So I
important.
mean, yeah, if your state of mind is really goofy, happy, laughy,
Yeah.
and you know that's probably why when I went into it just to think really hard, that's exactly what I did.
Because,
Yeah.
like, a lot of things that, like, sometimes what happens is, like, there's this runaway feedback loop, you know, whether it's good or bad, you know, because you're so impressionable. And if you're already feeling a certain way, you're going to continue to feel that certain way.
Yeah, it's probably just gonna make you feel more of
Yeah.
it, like amplified, like Corey said.
But it all depends on, like, dosage and
Oh, yeah.
environment, because, like, things might
Sometimes
change.
it
Start
gets
to get
out of
anxious,
control.
you're
Yeah, it
gonna
gets out
have
of
a
control,
bad
man.
trip.
But if you leave the room and suddenly you're outside, you know,
Oh,
and you're
dude.
like, you
You
might
get a
start
breath
to
of
feel
fresh
better.
air and
You
you're
know,
like,
your
"Oh."
mind
Yeah.
is in a highly impressionable
It makes you
state.
grounded in where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Davis, have you ever done acid?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know the difference between, like, I took acid for a year, and then I tried mushrooms, and I thought it was going to be similar, but when
No.
acid makes you be in your head, you're, like,
Much
in this
more
imaginary
mental.
space of, you know, of shit. You're floating out there, your mind is racing, but I took mushrooms, and suddenly I'm, like, I'm grounded. I'm staring at the floor, and I feel my feet, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'm
You
like,
feel
why
the
am I
gravity.
so,
Dude,
yeah, you
I
feel,
could see my fingers were swollen, and I was like, wow. And I
Right?
was,
You were like, what the
feeling
sh-
them, and it was like really
Yeah.
a tactile experience,
yeah.
you know?
It is interesting. And then I used to live next to the ocean, so the first time I tripped with Orion, you met him at my
Oh, and the
birthday.
shower was incredible.
Oh, the shower.
Taking
I
a
bet.
shower
Oh,
after
yeah.
shrooms is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Or during.
Or what?
Yeah, during. I'm not sure that would be
I think it's an interesting
safe to
experience.
recommend, honestly.
I just don't like bathrooms when I'm on psychedelics. That is not a very good. It's just
Oh,
everything gets crazy.
I loved the bathroom. I was
Yeah.
like, I can get completely naked and sit on a toilet and just like
Just be naked.
Relax.
Yeah, relax.
cool off because I'm sweating balls.
Yeah, you when you're in shrooms, you
Yeah.
want to get naked. You know what I mean? You like you don't want to have any like nice clothing on you because you feel like it's so unnecessary bullshit. You just want to like throw it away. Like when I was on shrooms, I was wearing shoes like this, and I was like, what? I could feel the plastic in my feet, and I was like, that feels so unnatural and weird.
Yeah, dude, I took off my glasses. I didn't
Right?
even want to have my glasses on. It felt better to just have my glasses off.
Yeah, that's good shit. makes me want to do them. Cleo said she was gonna grab some, so I'm like, yo, that's why we're putting so many plants in our room right now.
Do you think they're gonna legalize mushrooms in our lifetime?
I
for,
believe
like,
I believe so.
I hope so.
medical use and stuff.
I believe so
Doctors
because
are
I
It'll
mean,
start with
able-
medical, and then it'll probably happen in the... Actually,
fucking what is it,
Who
Denver
knows?
or something? They already decriminalized mushrooms somewhere there. I'm not sure where exactly.
Yeah, I think maybe it's in the place that I was thinking of is what's the place? Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. No, but like in U.S.
They have they had actually shrooms totally legal for a
Yeah.
while, but now they have a loophole where it's truffles.
Yeah.
Shroom truffle. It's like the shrooms in a slightly different grown
psychedelic
form.
truffles.
But yeah, it's very interesting. Like people are allowed to do them over there.
Oh shit! I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's a cool
I
thing
discovered
to,
this piano is still on.
to add in. You want to check on the state of the recording? It's
Yeah.
all going
See what we got.
swimmingly, right?
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
I definitely think in retros... I mean, I don't know. The recordings look small, but, like, the peaks are getting loud.
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
I mean, if-
so-
Yeah.
But I can hear everything clearly.
Yeah,
and-
if anything is
If anything, we just always
Better
do
to
it
have it
again. 'cause
quiet.
it's-
yeah, we'll do the whole thing again. All right. We'll probably do another one eventually. I'll do one with you and Adric.
yeah, man. Oh, yeah. I want to do an ice bath with all you guys.
No homo.
No homo, bro. Just bromo. So,
Dude, it's just a bro job.
you know, now the season for swimming, going to the ocean is open for me. Because, like, people swim in the summertime. You know, we have a pool on the back of the house where I live, you know, like in the backyard. I showed you the pool.
That's
And
oh yeah.
It's closed. They're like, oh, so it's not a season. And I'm like, what do you mean? It is a season for me. I would fucking love to use the cold ass pool where people only swim in the warm water. It's like, come on, dude. Like, it's...
yeah. I mean, I guess once it freezes, you can't be using it. But like,
Yeah.
I guess nobody wants to take care of it in the winter.
Yeah. So that's why we're going to go out get our own pool. Or for now, we just use my bathtub with a bunch of cocktail ice.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking.
I fucked it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's all good.
Because I realized the piano wasn't recording. So I tried to put the thing there. See if it works. Oh, nope. Didn't work.
Is it working now? Is it recording still?
It's recording. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all good. Don't worry.
Oh, freaking Moon is so cute, man.
You little cutie pie.
How was Missy when you visited her? Did she seem like too much like lonely, or was she fine?
She was cool. I would pet her for a while, and then she would start to do her own thing, so...
Yeah, she didn't. When we came back, she was like, she didn't even react too much. I was like,
really? I thought she was gonna be so happy.
She was happy, like, and like, she's happy right now. I feel like it took her time to realize that we're back, because now she's like non-stop, like coming to lay down on top of me.
Yeah. No, because I remember there was one point where I came over and she came running over to me. I was like, "Aw, hi, Missy."
Like today, I was in the bathroom, doing bathroom things, and she just started like
Flying
trying to
out the
get in
door.
there, and I open the door, and she just comes in there and looks at me like, meow. And I'm like, what do you want? And I give her pets, and she just started like walking around and trying to get more pets. She's a freaking nice cat. In the place where we're staying in California, these people had a house cat that is like that fucking big. It's huge.
Yo,
like his
people
paw-
got some fat cats.
And it's so nice, It's a very, very like good boy, very good boy. What is this shit?
Do you want a final topic out of our little great debate? Everyone should change their job every year.
I don't agree.
Now, I don't agree either. But it does open up the point that we actually kind of were talking about people having more than just one passion.
Oh, yeah, in that way, yeah, but I don't like it. It doesn't have to be a job. Your passion doesn't have to be a job. You can have multiple passions in one job.
Now, that's interesting. Yeah, because a
I
lot of
just
people
feel
do
like-
stuff on the side.
Yeah.
But it
Ultimately,
could become
changing
their
your
job.
like every year might be unsustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I
at
think that's the
least
thing
for
with these
most people.
great debate questions. They do tend to be, like, one side is clearly not really right. But it's kind of funny, the ideas they open up.
Where'd you get this thing?
Andrew Conchina.
That's
my
pretty
roommate brought
dope.
one. Yeah, they got some funny things in here.
It wasn't Prometheus Rising. He was talking about it. Robert S. Wilson, that he said, what is it? Fuck. Like when you focus on just one thing, specializing or something. Like focusing too much on one thing is for ends, Like you're a human being, you have huge capacity, so you should do a whole bunch of things in your life rather than just focusing on one thing and doing it for the rest of your life. You're not a fucking
Right.
ant.
Right.
Yeah.
No, totally. I mean, I think people are really diverse creatures. Like, we like to do a lot of different shit. There's no reason we can't just try some new shit out. That's the thing I heard someone saying one time. It was like, a lot of people will climb the mountain and get 2/3 of the way up and say, fuck, I climbed the wrong way. I can't get to the top from here. And they'll say, well, I guess I got 2/3 of the way up.
Yeah.
But really impressive people, but not even that impressive, because there's a lot of people who do this, will climb down the mountain and climb up it again. And they still might not get to the top. They still might only get 3/4 of the way up, and they have to do it fucking 3 more times before they finally get to the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? Some people just refuse to keep climbing down and climbing back up.
Yeah.
It's like starting from scratch is what people are afraid of. I've never drawn before. I don't want to try to draw a cartoon to make the cartoon that, like, straight up. I think I'm a terrible fucking person to draw anything. But I'm doing it anyways because I want to try something out.
Yeah.
People say, oh, I spent my whole life being a fucking lawyer, but I really want to try playing guitar. But I'm too old to learn.
Yeah, I hate people
Start
who say
from
I'm
scratch,
too
bro.
old to do something.
Start from scratch, dude.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not? That's
Yeah,
how
lots of- 'cause
everyone
it's
started.
uncomfortable, man. Because like there's always a thought of failure, and I think that's what stops most people is thinking, oh well, what if I spent all this time doing this thing and it ended up just being wasting my time? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know that feeling, anticipation of that future that is not happening yet, but you feel it because you're focusing on it with your thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah. That's how people get addicted to thoughts, because, for example, let's say something traumatic happened in your past, right? And you felt something very strong, at that moment. And now 10 years later, the first few days it's going to be traumatic, and you're going to keep thinking about it, and it's going to trigger the same exact emotional reaction, and it's going to bring you back in this event like it's happening right now. And so you remember experiences because you remember how you felt, you know? Like you can remember something that happened a while ago because you remember how you felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
So some people just, by thinking alone, you can trigger certain receptors that make you stressed.
Definitely.
And hormones of stress cause your body to get in this, survival mode. And it brings like a rush of adrenaline. So it's kind of like doing coke, a bunch of coke at once, or meth. It's adrenaline. It's like a drug. People become addicted to the stress emotions because they make you feel like you're fucking pumped, and it's crazy that most of the
fascinating.
people are, and they don't even realize it. So
And they think, that's why people seek
bad
to
things,
to be insulted.
yeah, to
or
be offended, to talk shit.
They're
yeah,
addicted to the rush of
of the bad
the-
of the energy.
the energy that results with the conflict.
And so they use shitty things like
That's
a bad job or bad coworkers. They use
Just
negative
anything to
events
complain about.
Yeah, they use it to reaffirm the addiction, and it's crazy.
Fascinating.
The craziest
That's a
thing
really
I think
good point,
is
actually.
when you wake up, and a lot of people, like for me, I just say from my own experience, I wake up and I have a thought sometimes, oh, dude, I have to go to work, and immediately, dude, as soon as you open your eyes, you trigger some thought, and then just, and now you feel in the same fucking in the past. You feel the same emotion as yesterday,
Well,
and
that's
the day before,
the
and the day
classic
before.
thing my dad always taught us. Someone could be driving down the road in their car, and that could be their road to work. And they might say, oh, fuck, this drive fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Or they could be had the same exact meal before, have the same exact physical state, but in their mind they say, if they're on their way to go pick up their winnings from the lottery, it was the best drive they've ever experienced. But in that moment, what is happening to you, the only difference is what's in your head.
Exactly, it's what you put in your
So
head. Yeah, the
it's
emotion.
a matter of what you decide to feel and focus on.
Yeah, it's what you focus on. Exactly, where you focus your energy. That's where you focus is where your energy goes. The chi thing we were talking about last time. That's
And there's so much correlation between the physical state and the mental state, like in the sense that the physical can impact the mental and the mental can impact the physical. You can put a pencil in your teeth and inevitably feel happier because your face is in that position.
yeah.
Or you can think that something really positive about life and feel physically healthier and happier.
Yeah, it does it. You say it could, but it does. That's what everything I learned from Joe Dispenza.
Right.
The mind-body connection.
Well, it
it's a
can if you
circle.
decide to,
Yeah,
you just have to, for one, it's like the placebo. You just have to believe it.
Yeah.
It really you have to be convinced.
Yeah, one of his books is called the You're the Placebo, because that's where he started getting interested in this topic of mind over matter, because he's like, if you can inject basically nothing in a human being, like a fucking sugar pill, but it's not the sugar that makes the change in the human body.
Of course.
It's the thought of complete surrender.
Precisely. It's
And-
just there's one thing that has to happen that convinces you, whether it's meditating, breathing, or a sugar pill that you think is something
Yeah.
not the sugar pill.
So he says if you can...
Something is going to happen. Something is happening in your fucking brain that
Yeah, man.
makes a real, actual result.
So why meditation? Like I tell a lot of people that meditation is so cool, but people don't really think about it too much because they don't give a shit. But in general, I think what Joe Dispenza at least says, because he's a scientist, he's a doctor, has a PhD, so I always use his name to like, hey, that's not just my thinking. That's somebody who's been studying neuroscience for fucking years,
Yeah.
who has testimonials. So I'm not just telling you a fairy tale. This is real shit happening in scientific world. So meditation is a way to bring your energy, like how people are addicted to their own thinking. So he meditates in the morning as soon as he wakes up, because it brings you back to this state of pure mind, you know what I'm saying? Because when you wake up, you start having this voice that brings you back to your same physical state as before in the past. He says people wake up, and if you don't have a thought that defines you future, you're going to be in the past. You're going to be very predictable, because you're going to have the same thoughts, the same emotional experiences. It's going to bring you back to the same person that you were yesterday and the day before and a year before. So what you absolutely need is to have a goal or a vision, so you can wake up and focus on it. You have to put your energy somewhere, because if you don't, your habitual self is going to take over,
That's one of the
and then
things
you're fucked.
people think really sets humans apart. Our ability to envision a future and remember
Definitely.
the past allows us to make actions that change the future.
Yeah,
But most creatures are reactionary. Things happen and they react in the moment.
yeah,
But yeah, the ability to like imagine what could be, Yeah, that's definitely attitude affects action, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. So when people ask like, "Oh yeah, meditation is like this hippie bullshit," I'm like, maybe that's what you think about it. Maybe you just need a different word for it. It doesn't have to be meditation, you know. In your
Right.
own words, it's like,
It sounds so unscientific. It's like
Yeah.
sort of the stigma.
yeah, but that's what Wim Hof and Joe Dispenza are doing right now. They're like showing people that, hey, maybe that's just how you think about the thing, but just change your perception and try it. You know, you don't think about it, just do it. You know, and see how it helps you.
Moonshine, you're so cute.
Dude, he's adorable. So for me, meditating is kind of like stop being addicted to your thoughts. It's like you learn what kind of thoughts you give your energy to. And every time you think about something that you don't want to experience, you bring your attention back. Every time, it's kind of like if you imagine if all your things that you think of on a daily basis is like this little energy things that pull your energy in there, because you have the energetic connection to it. So it's actually scientifically, it's going to be the neurons in your brain that have those paths. You know, every thought is like a
Certain
little path.
paths are stronger
Exactly.
than others, and you can strengthen certain that you like.
Yeah, that's why
You know?
for so many people it's easier to be dick about things, you know, and to be like, you know, judgmental and to be like sarcastic, like.
And
oh,
it's
blah, blah,
like
blah.
a trail in the woods. The more it gets walked on,
Exactly.
the more it's cleared and easy to go through.
Yeah, so when you I tell my sister, you know, sit down for 5 minutes, pay attention to your thoughts, and try to be grateful, because feeling grateful it's a great feeling, and you don't really need to do
You
do
need
anything.
real perspective to do that, though.
I think you need a muscle to do it. It's like a muscle. You know, the mental state is a muscle that you need to train.
I think. Oh, that's a good point.
You just
but
walk
maybe
this
that
trail more
muscle
and
is
more.
easiest to activate by realizing your position relative to others. You know, perspective meaning like, oh, there's starving people in the world, and I have cookies on my table. I ought to be damn grateful for that. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you close your eyes and you imagine things that you're grateful for. So you start
And again,
feeling
it's
it.
deciding to put my focus there and not focusing on. Some people have fucking lobster steak and 100 cookies on their table and fucking billions of dollars or whatever.
Yeah, don't focus.
So why
on
should I
lack.
feel happy about anything? That's another thing you could focus on. I decide not to. I decide to focus on that in another way and say, fuck those people. I'm going
Right.
to be selfish and say I deserve more because it's unfair.
Yeah.
I and all the other people who are certainly not as well off
Yeah, it's
As they
definitely what
could
you
be.
choose to focus on.
and subjectively deserve to be better off, you know?
I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like you have two options. You can feel good or you can feel bad about your situation. So what do you choose
Yeah,
to
but
do?
then ultimately, decide that, well, even if I am going to try to make things better, things are still great, because even if you're on a burning alive, there's some small piece of what is happening to you that you can find to focus on that is pleasant. I'm dying. This pain of burning is going away. You know,
yeah,
thank
it's a pretty
goodness.
extreme example, but yeah, in a broad way, yeah.
You know, it's the yin and the yang. There's a piece of the other in each of them for a reason.
Yeah. So for there to be happiness, there must be unhappiness too, because how would you know what happiness is?
Yeah, you can't know the good days without the bad days.
Yeah. Everybody cannot win.
There
There's going to
weren't-
be people who lose and people
If
who
there
win.
weren't darkness, there'd be nothing to light.
Precisely.
I love that shit, the fucking Taoist fucking type of thinking.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. If there weren't light, you wouldn't know what shadows are.
If
what
there weren't dumb
darkness is.
people, how would you know who's
Yeah.
smart, you know?
Yeah, I mean, how could you know that you're taking it easy if you haven't worked hard?
Yeah.
Any of that.
Did you ever make more coffee? I can't even actually go get it myself. I need to piss anyway.
Oh yeah, I did make more coffee.
All right.
Well, you wanna wrap it?
Sure. We can slowly start wrapping it up. It's been a while. How long has it been?
I don't even know. It's been
2
a long
minutes
one.
and 44.
2 minutes,
2 hours
yeah.
and 4.
What? We've been
4
sitting here for
minutes.
3 hours chatting. Damn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, this might be the
Yeah.
longest one so far.
Damn. And
Well-
we only tapped a little bit.
Yeah, dude. And we're just scratching the iceberg of the shit that we could feel like fucking talk about. Any closing points?
I don't know, any closing questions? Because I have a hard time coming up with closing points.
Should all guinea pigs and hamsters be freed?
I don't know.
How about this?
No.
If I feed you food, what do you say if I gave you drink?
I'm sorry?
So, I gave you food and you ate it.
Yeah.
I fed you.
Yeah.
I gave you a drink and you drank it.
Oh. You. I don't know.
What?
Hydrated me.
Hey, hydrated.
Yeah, I guess
That's
the
better.
best
Because
verb for
so
that.
far, the best I've came up with is I've quenched you.
Quenched. Yeah.
But I don't think the English language has addressed that situation.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
Whoa.
And that's a funny thing to
Dude,
to
the
realize.
time just flew by so fast.
Aw.
Hey,
There
buddy.
might be a little bit at the beginning that like we hadn't
God.
really started yet, so it might be a little shorter.
Damn.
Man, I'm super excited for the ice bath.
Well, I wish you luck with the ice bath.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Maybe you'll get me to join.
Sure. You want to swim in my bathtub?
No, when you get your group together, I'll join your Facebook group.
Yeah.
We'll do it in the winter in the fucking lake or something.
Yeah. I think about getting the pools after winter because right now it's winter, so there's cold water right there. It's gonna be ice cold, fucking ocean.
Damn, I might end up trying to take a cold shower soon. You got
Today?
me thinking about it again.
Man, it just feels so good. Like that thing of you're gonna be uncomfortable before you do it, but after you do it, you feel so great
right.
that you're like, damn, I better start getting uncomfortable because it feels amazing.
That's a good,
So
good
that's-
way to put it. I better start getting uncomfortable because it feels amazing.
Afterwards, yeah, it's rewarding.
Oh, God, I need a fucking...
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. So don't focus
Yeah,
on
that was
don't focus on how uncomfortable the experience feels. Focus on how great you're gonna feel afterwards when you achieve what you want to achieve, because that's a much stronger motivator to do it. Like if you wanna go to the gym, but you're like, oh, I have to lift so much, and have to go to the gym, and have to go back, and have to take a shower, and push this like enormous weight. But you can rather focus on, hey man, I'm gonna look fucking great. I'm gonna have this giant arms, whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Focus on that, because then that's what you want to do. That's gonna be a better motivator than all the shit that I have to do.
You wanna also do an intro? Because we never introduced you. Or even, like, really started the podcast.
Yeah, we just started talking.
So I guess to close, we'll say, hey, welcome to the fucking podcast. That's Theo.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's a camera. I'm just totally.
Yeah, I've been kind of ignoring the camera, too.
I mean, that's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
the right thing to do, but at first we should have
Here's Theo, guys. This is my buddy. I met him when I first moved to Boston.
yeah.
Wanna say what you are?
Dude, I don't know what I am, so.
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are, bro? I would say I'm a pioneer of consciousness. I'm trying
All right.
to bring people to be more aware of fucking
I fuck with it.
of how life is awesome. How can you focus on better things and do better in your life, no matter where you are in life.
So here we go.
Yeah, even though
You guys are about to hear some good shit.
I haven't done too much, but I'm getting there. I'm only 20, so I have a whole lot of time.
Yeah, we're working.
You'll be hearing about us in the future. Yeah. One day we'll be watching this podcast and fucking dying laughing, being like, man, we're like such little shits.
Probably not wrong.
Right?
So I don't know if I'm gonna make that the intro and the
It's probably a
outro
bad
or what.
intro. I'm pretty high.
But we'll
You should
see.
probably just cut it at the end.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
We
right
can always do
before,
another
Hi
intro.
guys.
thanks for
Hi guys, this is
thanks for
Corey's podcast.
watching.
You can just continue talking about
Or listening.
recording it.
Yeah. Anywho, let's cut it.